Ideally, you want to keep files and functions in your plugin or theme relatively small. The template files we'll be building are going to be built with the goal of keeping them as concise as possible. When we're done, the index.php will take about 20 lines of code. I start with the get header to pull in the site's header. If I was looking for a specific site header, I'd pass the slug of that file to the get header function, but since this theme only has one header, we can get the base header PHP with just the get header function. Following that, I call the theme hook alliance before content hook before any content gets displayed. Then I create my div that will wrap around the content. I'm giving it a grid size of column medium 9, so on smaller screens the content will just fill the page and the sidebar will drop underneath. Now, inside the content container, I will start and end with my theme hook alliance functions, THA content top at the top and THA content bottom on the bottom. Between those goes the loop. If have post, while have post, the post, with an end if at the end. After the loop is started, I'm going to get the post format and load that into a variable. Then my next function will be getTemplatePart, which will handle how the post is actually constructed and displayed. Then I'm ending my end while. After the end while, but before the end if, there are still posts, but we don't want this to be on every single one, I'm going to use another getTemplatePart. This time, I'm going to pull in a navigation template, which we'll look at later. Now I'm done with the content, and I'm almost done with this template file. Following the content div, I add my theme hook alliance after content hook. Then I'll get the sidebar and the footer. One note about placing the getSidebar function. You can put the getSidebar wherever you want. It can go above the content if that's where you want it. However, in the markup, this means that the sidebar content will be above the content markup. For SEO, this is generally considered bad practice. You want the stuff that people and search engines to be looking at and reading to be higher up in the markup. That's why getSidebar is at the bottom, right above the footer. It might be easier, especially if you just have a left sidebar and no options to change it, to just put the sidebar above the content, but that might hurt your theme's SEO. Now let's look at the page.php and single.php. For these, I'm going to put the loop in the template part. Why am I doing that? Well, for the index.php, I'm pulling in a different template part depending on what type of post format is being used. In order to figure that out, I need to be inside the loop. GetPostFormat won't return the correct post format if the loop hasn't started yet. So, for that template, it matters that the loop is in the index.php. For the single.php and the page.php templates, we already know we're going to get the template part that will handle single posts or pages, so we don't need to have the loop in those templates. They can go into the template parts. The first and last parts of the page.php will be identical to index.php. Start with getHeader, call THA content before for our theme hook alliance support, and then open the content div. That div will begin and end with the THA content top and bottom, and in between those, just a getTemplate part for pages. The last bit is just closing the div, calling THA content after, and then get the sidebar in the footer. Single.php is identical, except I'm adding a single class to the div, and I'm calling the single template part. Right now, we still don't have a functional theme because these template parts haven't been built yet. We're just building a skeleton, and we'll fill in the guts later in this module. For now, let's go on and deal with the sidebar.